In cunning ways, the make-believe. Cunning ways, they shame me. Flesh and
Peace and blessings. This is your brother Gabar, and this is I Am Fit Podcast. Are you fit to go God's way? Let's go. Peace and blessings to those that are joining me. Just want to say hello and also say that we are back. We are officially back. It's been sporadic. As you guys know, that I've been working on my second job and to make sure that I'm able to steamroll this operation we're doing, right? Man going God's way. It takes some money to start anything. So it takes some money to start a church. It takes some money to start an organization, a nonprofit. It takes money to start things that you want to do, dreams, desires. It is the world that we live in. So don't forget to support. Make sure you like and subscribe. It helps the algorithm. And if you want to donate, we got the donation, the Cash App and also the PayPal. It goes to a good place. So let's have a conversation. In today's conversation, and you guys heard or saw the title, Stop and Don't Have Any Children in America. And I'm going to go into why I believe that is something that at least it should be a conversation, right? It should be a conversation. And shout out to Legit. Shalom, brother Legit. 6 and 11. Shout out to you, brother. You actually sent me this idea, so I came up with this idea. It was funny because I was about to go into, and I might touch into this today as well. T.I., he's a famous rapper, actor, entertainer, activist, if you will, and he and his wife, I believe, has several children. I believe like 6 or 5 children. I forget. They had a show actually in one of these reality TV shows, and he's a multi-millionaire. Concerts and movies and albums and the whole shebang. So the kid lived pretty well, but he's all over the place. So I wanted to touch on that. Probably touch on that next week. What goes wrong when a child? Okay, let me back up. If statistically speaking, the chances of a child being successful as an adult increases up into the high 80s, low 90s percentage. This is statistics. The percentage is higher when you have a father and a mother in a household, right? So the actual ability to raise that child increase when there's a father, either a single father raising that child or a father with a mother, right? So the question of what went wrong with T.I.'s son, and we probably covered that next week. But brother Legit 1611 gave me this idea that I wanted to support. Thank you for the Cash App. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Let me see who this was. It will pop up in a minute. Thank you, brother or sister. Let's see who this is. Let's see who this is. 1 minute. Let me get my glasses because when you get old, you can't barely see these days. I can't. It doesn't come up. It was $10. I think it was Michael or Michelle. I can't make it up. Peace and blessings. Thank you. Thank you so much. Just 1 minute. Just 2 seconds. Let me do just one thing here. Let me just do one thing here. And then we'll be able to knock it out. Let me take this down. Okay, we're back. Actually, yeah, I got the information, but yeah, that was actually Brother Michael. Shalom, shalom. Thank you, Brother Michael, for the support. Thank you for your support. Appreciate you. Yeah, it could have come up on my phone, but I was getting a phone call. So I wanted to have this conversation, right? If I'm overreacting, let me know. The call number. There's two ways to call in. You can call through the Zoom number, or call in through Zoom, or come in through Zoom, or you can call in the 267-358-0879. Shout out. Wait a minute. I got another people. Okay. Good. Okay. All right. I believe that was another donation, but let me just check. It will come up in a few minutes. But I want to have this conversation in regards of this video that Brother Legit sent to me, and I want to. There's two videos I want to play. I want to play the video. This is from the brother here. Let me see who this brother's the website here real quick. This is what is the brother's name here? Tyler Rebound. Tyler Rebound, I believe. Skylar Rebound. That's his name. That's his website here. He's actually someone who is, I guess, a traveler, and he's one of the passport bros, so to speak. So we're going to be playing some of his videos, and let me start from the beginning because I want to kind of start from the beginning. Fair use.
Listen, I'm going to.
Fair use. This brother is going to go into a conversation. I'm also going to play a video with Peterson, Dr. Peterson as well. So fair use.
Say this, and I cannot be any more clear. Do not, I repeat, do not have any children in the United States. Don't do it. Okay, and I'm going to list out some reasons here, but this doesn't matter if you're white, black, Asian, Hispanic. It doesn't matter. My perspective has completely shifted being here in Brazil. I'm seeing how culture is here, and I will never have kids in the United States. Okay. Also, if you have kids in the United States now, I understand what you're going through, okay? Especially with this wokeism, socialism, indoctrination that's going on here or going on in the United States. There's so many issues, okay? But I want to start with, we just got to listen to what she has to say. We're going to listen to what the shorty has to say real quick. Shorty is attractive, and I'm going to try to play some of the video and just give you guys, listen to what she has to say. But this is the tip of the iceberg, by the way.
I'm calling out all the parents. If you're a parent and your child is in pre-K to elementary school to high school, I'm calling you out. The children today, I have never experienced, and I'm 22. Having to teach and work with you guys as children has been the most traumatic experience of my life.
Teachers are giving up. You have teachers that are giving up on their students because I'm gonna just tell you something. And people you can play the blame game. You can blame women. You can blame men. You can do the blame game. But at this point, there's no point in pointing fingers. The only thing you should be doing is you know what I'm saying? Figuring out what other country you want to live to because the Titanic has hit the iceberg. And here's the thing.
And this is, a scenario that this is a fairly young brother, right? He's a fairly young man, and he's living overseas, right? So he doesn't look like he's past 30. He's probably 27, 28, 29, maybe 25, maybe younger. I don't know. It looks like in his late 20s, early 30s, maybe, right? Or mid 20s even. And he already is figuring it out that it is a sinking ship in regards of dealing with, and I want to play another video as well. I want to, let me see some 2 seconds because I wanted to play another part of his. We'll go back. Here we go. Okay. Okay. And the young lady who is speaking is a school teacher. She's 22. I mean, I got daughters older than her, right? Or a daughter older than her, right? So it's just funny how the older you get. I remember when I used to have, when I was a kid, I had teachers around this age, and I always used to view them as adults, right? View them as like a scenario that they were so mature and knew so much, but they were babies, right, in their 20s. But now she's realizing that how rude these kids are, and she's going to go into the reason why. Fair use.
There is a little bit of hope in the United States, but how long would it take you to find a shorty like this?
Let me fast forward this real quick.
It's ballet. 5-year-old girls ballet. I have a class of 10 students. They don't respect any authority. You ask them, can you stand in your designated spot? They're telling you no and shut up. They're throwing things at each other. They're throwing things at other people, other classmates.
Wow.
You say, can everybody sit in their spot? I don't want to. I'm not doing that. You don't get to tell me what to do. You're not my mom. You confront the parent. The parent tries to argue with you.
Just go ahead and say who the parent is. The parent, and you guys, I wish I was on Patreon. You know who the parent was. It ain't a dude. It ain't. You should tell the truth. It's not the man. It's not the father you're talking to. It's the female you're talking to. Like, yeah.
Because you tried to reprimand and redirect their kid. I told a young little girl, please sit in your spot. You're not my mom. You don't tell me what to do. Okay. When her mom came to pick her up, I said, hey, your daughter's having a hard time following instructions. And 7 times today, I've had to redirect her to just sit in her spot. Well, clearly she didn't want to sit. And mind you, this is a mom. Clearly she didn't want to sit right there. So, I mean.
I like her. She said, it's the mom. See, now this part, she could have the father the father there. But the way the system is set up in the States, it incentivizes women to be single. You got to think about it, right? A lot of these women don't want to work.
And
they're very.
I want to do play another video, but I also want to show you guys something real quick. I want to show you guys an article that I came across. Let me open up my email, right? Because a lot of people forget, and especially people that are Bible believers, people that understand in the system that we live in, we forget how deep the rabbit goes, right? So let me get this article that I emailed myself and see if I can find it. Give me 2 seconds. It must have been with it. So this one, no, it wasn't that one. Let me email it to myself because I want you guys to see this. I thought I had it. Let me see. TikTok. Okay, that was not it. Sometimes my email comes and sometimes my egos don't come. Okay, so let me re-email it to myself. Matter of fact, I think I could look into here we go. Here we go. This is from a law firm, okay? This is from a law firm. And it's going into the history of alimony, child support. Where did that came from? Right? Where is the origin of this? Right? So I'm going to read the title, right? A Brief History of Alimony in the United States, right? Let me bring this up a little. Let me do this real quick because I want you guys to see this. Okay. Right? A Brief History of Alimony in the United States. It says, ancient Babylon, ecclesiastical courts and fort-based divorce, right? So it says the history of alimony in the United States began with the Code of Hammurabi. Those people that know, and I've done a lesson of this, many people, say that the Bible took the laws of Moses from the Hammurabi codes. And when you begin to look at the Hammurabi codes and the Bible, you start seeing the difference, right? You start seeing the difference. Like, for instance, adultery was illegal in ancient Babylon. But what was the punishment for it? If you commit adultery, right? Let's say your neighbor commits adultery with your wife. The law of Hammurabi says now that you will be allowed to have sex with his wife because they had a diverse or different version of an eye for an eye. In the Hebrews, right, we put that gentleman to death, right? And if the wife was also a willing participant in the act, she will also be put to death according to the Bible, right? In the Old Testament, when Israel was a sovereign state, right? But the courts of the Hammurabi Code, it says, or the history of the alimony goes back to the Hammurabi codes, right? In Babylon, showing you that America is what? The daughter of Babylon, because it picked up a lot of the rules and regulations and culture of Rome or Europe. Europe picked up a lot of culture and rules of Babylon and also Egypt, right? So it says this ancient Babylonian code set rules regarding marriage and the dissolution. The rules that if a couple were to divorce, the husband would need to return his dowry, give his ex-wife custody of the children. Where do we get that from? Where do we get that from? This sounds familiar. So you need to understand, not all ancient culture were patriarchal in nature. Some were matriarchal, some were somewhere in the beginning, some was confusing all over the place. So don't assume just because you was in Babylon, if you are a man and your wife does something or what have you, or divorce, or you don't want to be married to her for any reason, you automatically have custody of the children. You automatically don't have to worry about taking care of her, yada, yada, yada. Within the ancient Babylon, it was very similar to what? America, right? It says give his ex-wife custody of the children and provide her with an allowance to be used for her and her children, right? So that sounds what? Well, like alimony, right? And let me put this article in the comments. You guys could read it in length in your at your own convenience, right? Let me put this. Let me remove this. Okay, and there it is, right there. Boom. That's the article. You guys should check it out and read it on your own. But the child support, alimony, this is not biblical based. It's not something that is new, because there's nothing new under the sun. And more importantly, something that in the surface, it could come across as even righteous, right? The most vulnerable creature in the entire world is a mother with a child, right? A woman with a child with no protection is the most vulnerable things that we could experience. So therefore, the idea of saying, okay, if we get divorced, right? What's going to happen to the child, right? What's going to happen to the mother, right? And so forth, so on. So when you hear it in the surface, it sounds noble and righteous. But what people need to understand is that, and what is not taken into consideration, is that women are the weaker vessel. any benefit that people get, they abuse. Let me repeat this again. Any benefit that people get, they sometimes abuse them. And this is true with everything else. Divorce, alimony, so forth, so on. I'm going to give you some horror stories, right? And like I said, this is not a problem, or this is not an issue only, and shalom to all the brothers and sisters, Sister Kathleen, shalom, Brother Michael, thank you for that donation. Thank you for supporting and joining me, right? I want to play this video, right? This is Jordan Peterson, right? Jordan B. Peterson. He's a professor in Canada. He's famous. He's, he got threatened with his losing his tenure because he didn't want to get caught up with his gender identification. He believed if you're a man, you were born a man, I'm going to call you a man. If you're born a woman, I'm going to call you a woman. Matter of fact, he was not against calling people of the transgender community whatever they wanted, but he was against the legal or bringing some form of legal writings in regards of forcing people to call people by their preferred pronouns, and that's how he became famous, right? So I want to play this video. This is Jordan Peterson, fair use, and I want to you guys will explain. It's self-explanatory once you hear it. Fair use.
Greg Ellis, a best-selling author, TV director, Annie Award-nominated voice artist, and Emmy Award-nominated actor. He's appeared in Oscar-winning movies, directed Hollywood superstars, produced and written television shows, starred in Broadway musicals, and voiced animated characters for movies, television series, cartoons, and more than 120 video games. His major motion picture film credits include the Pirates of the Caribbean series Titanic, Star Trek, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and Beowulf. His television credits include 24, X-Files, CSI, Dexter, NCIS, and Hawaii Five-0. With his production company, MGTOW, Mr. Ellis has written and directed projects for Kiefer Sutherland and Stephen Fry, who's been on this podcast. He's also the host of several popular video podcasts, and he additionally founded the child advocacy program, The Respondent, which inspires family champions through his non-profit CPU, Children and Parents United. His book, which we're going to concentrate on today, at least to some degree, is The Respondent, Exposing the Cartel of Family Law. It's a call to action, and a necessary one, to reform the one branch of our legal system that does not provide the presumption of innocence, family law. Yeah, well, that's quite a claim that branch of law does not provide the presumption of innocence. So maybe we could start by exactly what you mean by that and why you would make that claim.
Well, through personal experience. First of all, thank you for having me on, Jordan. It's great to be on your show. I've been looking forward to this for a while. Family law, the only branch of our legal system where there's no presumption of innocence. Murderers, rapists, terrorists, pedophiles all get more legal rights than law-abiding citizens. And the silver bullet, as I call it, the silver bullet playbook or paradigm of high conflict divorce, the smoking gun of this corrupt legal system, that's become the go-to strategy for divorce lawyers that guarantees victory, and they encourage the petitioners and the respondents to usually petitioners, to utilize this strategy, usually the false allegation of domestic violence, to win in court, to get the cash and prizes, for want of a better phrase. When I had no idea of the words family law before what happened to me in 2015. And once I started investigating through experience and through talking with other experts in the system, outside the system, it became clear to me that we have a real issue here. And if we can improve or reform the family court or the family law system, expose the cartel of family law, as I call it, because it is like a crime syndicate, these quasi-kangaroo courts that they have, you don't get the presumption of innocence. You don't get your rights read to you. I've spoken with fathers in particular who've been ended up in court with false allegations of domestic violence. One told me a story about he put his wrists up and said, "Your Honor, arrest me. Have the bailiff arrest me." And the judge said, "Are you crazy?" And the gentleman said, "No, if I'm arrested, I'll get the rights that a criminal has, Miranda rights, access to an attorney, etc., etc." And of course, those who are suffering the most are the people who don't have the wherewithal or the financial resources to be able to have representation. And even those who do, if you are the respondent, you are behind the curve. It is the presumption is that you as the accused have to prove your innocence rather than the accused, which is Western jurisprudence, has to prove.
And let me also give you a backdrop on this gentleman. This gentleman, he got the introduction in the beginning of the show, and Peterson, introduced him, and all his accolades. He's in, a producer in movies, books, plays. He's a well-established gentleman. His wife was going through some mental illness herself, and it's not clear whether it was legit or not, but she began to accuse the police of him being mentally ill, and she made a claim with no evidence that he threatened to kill the children, which was a lie, and it was proven years later there was a lie, or months later, but still his reputation was ruined. He was arrested several times from an allegation, not even with no evidence, no video, no audio, no text, nothing, an email. She just called the cops and says he threatened the kids, and they arrested him with no evidence, with no ability to defend himself or to give his side of the story. And there's the reason why he came on the show, but more importantly, and I want to also play another part. I want to get into the when, let's see here, when his wife began to attack him or come up with this lie, right? Fair use.
Done, and it was all over by the shouting. I became homeless and almost destitute overnight. And
well, let me back it up a little bit. Let me back it up because I want to kind of start with how I started to kind of give you a synopsis of what happened. Fair use.
And then what do you think about the fact that it was a shock? I mean, because obviously the thing to wonder is, well, were you willfully blind, and should have you seen this coming? And I'm not claiming that you were. These are, they're genuine questions, but people are going to wonder, obviously.
Yeah, well, look, in the span of 8 hours, I was ushered from my home in handcuffs at the behest I later discovered of my ex-wife. I was committed to a mental institution against my will, the first of 5 incarcerations. There was also an incarceration in I called it solitary confinement, but it was a singular.
And there's a reason why it is very important to hear these stories, because as an individual, if I want to bring a child, a friend, a cousin, a family member into a crazy house or a mental institution, there needs to be some evidence for that. Usually a social worker comes in, checks out the situation, talks to the family, and usually there will be like an intervention to persuade the individual to volunteer themselves into this mental situation. I have people in my family with mental issues, and I remember that it was an issue, even getting them the right services for them, right? But a wife, the way the law is just now, the family court, which is a totally different system altogether from criminal court, civil court. And you guys need to understand that. Just because you may have certain rights in criminal, it doesn't mean you have certain rights in civil. It doesn't mean you have the same rights in family court. It's a totally different system of conduct, and you must know as a man, when you have a child, when you're getting married, and you're looking to do that, what are your rights and what is your lack of rights? What usually happens with the worst case scenario? And you have to be ready for the worst case scenario, prepare for the, hope for the best, but be ready for the worst, right? So this man got put in a mental institution by his ex-wife with no evidence of what, absolutely not. And I remember, like I said, in my situation, there had to be a process. It couldn't just be, hey, it's a quick phone call and then the police are coming. We are giving too much power to women. This society is giving too much power to the weaker vessel. And I understand the term weaker vessel, the term weaker automatically puts you in a position of defending the weaker vessel. I get it, right? I don't like bullies myself. I don't like for people that are weaker to be hurt and be hurt by others. I get that. But there needs to be a rational thinking when you're addressing these issues, right? Because women lied, men lie, children lie. And this is the reason why you should not engage in America with these legal entanglements with the female nature. This is the daughter of Babylon. You got to understand that you are behind enemy lines. A few months back, maybe like a year ago, I did a show called Don't Marry an American Woman. If you do, I kind of put on like 7 points. I may go back to that in the show. But I should also add children, because within the African American community, 80% of the children that are born in that community are born out of a marriage relationship or a relationship or a nuclear relationship, father and mother living together. 80%, my friends. What that means? That we are having children without having the commitment of marriage. Now listen, you do not need a license. You don't need to go to City Hall to say, that's my wife. You don't need to do that. Why? Because all you need to do is do exactly what I did. I declare my wife, my wife. And what the Lord put together, let no man put asunder. The marriage license, the history of marriage licenses is racist to its core. Let me explain. In the Reconstruction era, which in the turn of the 19th century, they were trying to define what does it mean to be an American. And slavery was over, so now that economic stronghold or infrastructure is no longer in existence. America was trying to reestablish itself, and what does it mean to be an American? And one of the laws that they began to pass after slavery, is the legal or the legal marriage status. Why? For two reasons. They did not want black men, to marry white women, or vice versa. But really it was a white man's anxiety, as they say, that black men are going to come and take their women, right? It was an anxiety-driven type of law. And another law that they passed, that you could only be married to one woman legally. Why? Because polygamy was a thing prior slavery being abolished. It was a thing that was practiced by different Christian communities, different, African slaves or that came with that tradition from America, which we know the Hebrews. Muslims had that tradition. Native Americans had that tradition. So it was part of the American identity, right? But when they began to reconstruct and reestablish America, they began to say you can only have one wife, right, at a time, and you can only marry within your own race, right? Because they wanted to keep the white race pure, but more importantly, they didn't want black men to take white women away from the white man. Now, a white man could go to a saloon and have, a hooker, a woman of the night, but still be married, similar to Rome. And this is all associated with Babylon, right? It's all associated with Babylon, right? Rome, Egypt, right? All of it, right? Okay. Now, I got a question. It says, are you MGTOW too? The good question. Love this question. Well, it's funny you asked that question because man going God's way was a response to MGTOW. I came up with the idea, I think, in 2017, 2018. And when I saw MGTOW. Now, with MGTOW, I don't have a problem with MGTOW. It makes perfect sense. If I didn't believe in God, I'd probably be a MGTOW, to be honest with you. But because I believe in God, right, there's certain things within MGTOW that I disagree with. They were anti-marriage. They were anti-family. Don't have children with women. Don't get married. Don't cohabitate with women, right? So, and I understand why MGTOW began to become a thing because a lot of men, a lot of the MGTOW men were divorcees, men that were already divorced, and they were taken to the laundry. They were broke. They were living in a one bed studio. They were in a situation that they were, and I think we have a Lisa calling in. I'm going to bring you up in a few minutes through Zoom, okay? So MGTOW or M.G.G.W is a response to MGTOW for Christians, for people that believe in the Bible, right? So I hope that answers your question. I'm bringing in, let's see, Sister Lisa, see if the audio is rendering. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Hello.
Papa.
Oh, okay. I guess they hanged up. They're probably one of these, I don't know, when you open the Zoom, all kinds of weirdos call in. So anyway, so let me go back to the answer the question. So MGTOW was something that I said, you know what? This will be attractive to a lot of young men, but the only problem is it was an atheist organization for the most part. They say, hey, listen, if you're going, there was three forms of MGTOW kind of living. The first one is have a girlfriend but don't live with her, right? Yeah, and Brother Zechariah, you could call in as well. You could call in if you want. You could either call in through the number or call in through the Zoom. The link is in the bottom, so you could either do it through the video or however you want to do it. All right. So MGTOW, they were saying, don't ever live with a woman. You could have a girlfriend, or don't have a girlfriend, have side chicks, right? Or deal with prostitutes, or go what they call go monk. Don't deal with women at all, right? So I began to say, you know what? If this thing becomes popular, and I could see the attraction of it, we're going to create a generation that will not be equipped to deal with the female gender. They would not have the experience or the skills or the latitude understanding, okay, what does it mean to take care of a woman, be with a woman, so forth, so on. The right woman, right? So man going God's way was a response to that. So I hope I'm making sense in regards of my response, right? So I want to play a little more of this video because it's going to give you more insight in regards of the family court is straight out of Satan's courts. It goes against common sense. It's not a situation that you need, a man is already guilty before he be into the courts. He has to prove himself to be innocent. I was in a situation where I was with the church that there was a brother was going through a divorce with a non-believer. She was diagnosed with schizophrenic in the past. But she filed for divorce and she called the police and she said, "This my husband is abusing me verbally, blah, 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 mentally, yada, yada, yada." And it became a situation that out the blue, I met the sister. She came to the church and trying to play that game of victim with me. But I instantly realized. Wait, hold on. Okay, Brother Zechariah, can you hear me? I mean, Zedekiah.
Yes,
I got Zechariah in my mind. Zedekiah, shalom, brother. How we doing?
I'm good. What about you?
Great. So I was telling a story, but I want to hear your thoughts on your opinion in regards of the title of the show, right? So, like I was saying to the audience, I met this woman, and I could clearly see that she was mentally ill. She was telling that her husband was down with the mob. She was this, she was that. Crazy stories that was clearly unbelievable. And, I told her, do you have any evidence? Of course, she didn't produce any evidence. But I remember when I spoke to the husband, he was spending tons of money on the lawyers, right? He also had to pay her legal fees because he was the breadwinner and the only breadwinner. And he, after a while, like 2 years, he just gave up. And I was like, brother, can the judge see that she's not mentally well? I was trying to tell him that, Gabar, but he wasn't listening. And you have a lot of men that go into this family court, and I don't know what it is. It's just automatically they come in from a perspective of I'm the bad guy, she's the good guy, right? I'm the jerk and she's the victim, right? So this is the reason why we need to have these conversations, because there's a lot of young men that follow the show. There's a lot of young men that are following red pill type of conversation. And I think we need to have a conversation about this particular issue. What say you about men, and I know you're a married man, right? And so for someone, what is your opinion? Do you think I'm overdoing it? You think I'm getting too extreme? Because I remember with my wife, we wanted to have children, about another child about, I don't know, like maybe 14, 13 years ago. And we was not able to do it. It was not the Most High's will. And of course, I'm a polygamist, and that was one thing that came to my mind. But at that time, I was a bishop, and yada yada yada. But even in the situation now, to have a child, I will be too scared, too nervous to even risk everything that I had built, the little thing that I had built in my life, and to get caught up again with the family court. What say you? If I'm overreacting?
Nah, you're not overreacting at all, to be honest. A lot of men could definitely sympathize with what you're saying with that situation. That's a man's worst fear nowadays. You know what I'm saying? We'd rather go through the trenches, go to war, do whatever we got to do besides dealing with a crazy woman and child support, holding our children hostage from us.
Yeah, and listen, and it's not like the family court cannot tweak some of the laws to make it more fair. Like, for instance, I believe if there's a divorce, it should be automatically due custody, automatically granted to both parties, unless one of the party refuse to have joint custody, right? Let's just say the father say, you know what? I don't have time. I don't have to have, because, joint custody means that the child will stay 3.5 days with the mother and 3.5 days with the father. And then they'll work out weekends and vacations together. It's like they split 50-50 down the middle. I believe that should be automatically from whether you a baby father, unmarried, or getting a divorce. And that would stop a lot of these women automatically getting custody. The woman gets the custody. This is the reason why they say the woman automatically gets the custody, because the woman usually spends more time with the child, which is true, because the father's working. But why should the father get penalized by creating the narrative or the scenario for that mother to be with that child. Who's paying for the rent for that home? Who's paying for the heat for that home, for that mother to stay with the child? Who's paying for the school equipment and clothes and all that? The father, so that because of the father infrastructure working hard, he's the one that should be also respected, right? Because although the mother's spending most of the time with the child, right? The father's working hard to allowing the mother to be in that situation without have to go get a job or have to spend some form of resources on our own outside of the father's financial stability, right? What say you about that?
Yeah, I mean, if you talk to a reasonable person, it's clear. You know, the court is an evidence-based arena, and you're in evidence-based arrangements. So according to statistics, you know, just simply that alone, the custody should be going to the man by default unless otherwise stated. But, you know, as you were speaking, it also hit me that if the woman gets most of these benefits through welfare and will apply for them, that benefits the government, well, not the government, but those who run the government for a certain agenda.
Yeah.
You know, so if the women get these children with the lack of funds, and then the women are reliant on the funds and welfare from the government, then the women automatically are bought by the government.
Right.
You know, it's corruption running deep.
What is your opinion? I don't know if you heard earlier the article that I brought out that alimony goes back or comes from the code of the Hammurabi code, as they say. What is your opinion on that? Do you think it's a correlation in regard what's going on in America in regards of, you know, ancient Babylon? Did you see? Did you believe there's a connection there?
Yeah, it's definitely a connection. I mean, Ecclesiastes 1 says there's nothing new under the sun, and you know, I think the wisest thing for the workers of the evil to do is to, instead of recreating the wheel, to take fundamental aspects that worked in the past and to re-implement them. So, you know, I definitely see a reflection and maybe even an improvement there, because I don't know if welfare was also existent during that time, but if a woman has to vote for Biden in order to get to sustain her welfare, then she's automatically bought by the government, whereas a man is productive enough to stand on his own, you know, principles, even if it means he has to work twice as much.
Yeah.
You know, and the problem with society now is that there's so much power in the woman's hands. One of the reasons being that there's more women than men, like 2 to 1.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, it's probably grown since that.
Yeah.
And now, you know, the balance is off, and every time a man is explaining the reasonings to things, then a woman has to rebuttal with not facts, but justification for how she feels, which is her feelings are already bought by the serpent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the courts need to understand that when you give power to an emotional imbalanced creature like the woman, and I'm sorry, that's what she is when she deals with tragic or she deals with stress. She panics. She usually runs to what she view as the safe guard, right? And when she's losing her husband, right? And we need to have another conversation, because only 20% of the men that get married file for divorce. 80% of all divorce is lead by women. So men are not the one that are leaving the women like they presumed to be in a situation. Men don't usually leave women. Men may cheat on their wife, right? They may have a side chick or so or what have you, but men usually stay with their wife and children, right? That's why usually the woman who is like the side chick wants for the husband to leave, right? And that's usually a game that guys play, right? When they want a side chick, they'll complain about the first woman to string along the second woman. That's why monogamy is a destructive thing on its own itself. But that's a different conversation. But that law was designed for the 20%, not the 80%. Yes, I could understand if you are a government and you want to protect the vulnerable, you create some laws. Yeah, because if some guy just wants to leave his family for no reason, there should be some responsibility for the children and so forth, so on. And what also damaged the laws, and California was the first one to introduce the no-fault divorce clause, meaning prior to this law, which I believe was in 1975, if I'm not mistaken, California was one of the first that began to deal with the, that what's that word? In something differences is a term for it. When two people divorce and they just don't longer get along or don't longer want to be together, it's a legal term for it. I forgot what it is. But once California opened the door, all other states kind of follow. In some states, it's a little harder to get divorced. You have to go to counseling. You have, the judge will try to preserve the marriage, and it's not as easy as other states. But now, most states are using. You don't need a validation to get divorced. You could say we fell out of love. We no longer connecting. We changed. We evolved. You could create all these modern terms to find justification for divorce. And then back in the days, before welfare, before alimony, before all these cushions, people stood together because they had to, right? People stood together because they have to. It wasn't that's the word, right? Inconsolable differences. That's the word. Inconsolable differences. Forgive my Spanish. I mean my English. I'm speaking Spanish here.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I don't
and
know
I
what
think
that
it's
word
ruined
is.
America. I think it's ruined America, and I think a man who is a God believer, we live by certain rules. We just cannot divorce our wife, except it be for the act of fornication, right? The Bible says if somebody irregularable circumstance, differences.
Logic said it. Yes, irreconcilable differences.
Right. So, I believe there should be some rules to protect, the family if a man wants to just leave the family, right? And the Bible says if a person does not take care of the family, his own family, he's worth an infidel, right?
Right.
And for the record, brothers and sisters, when you look into the context of that particular scripture, it's really talking about the woman. Because when you go into the epistles, it was Paul talking about the widow and what qualifies a woman for widowship. In other words, if a woman's a widow, meaning her husband died, and no one claims her, the church will take care of her, right? And this was something that was even something that in the early America, the church was kind of like that institution, was like the social welfare for the poor. There was a law called the Poor Law, right, for the poor, that came out of England, and they kind of took it from the Bible. Always remember the poor. It was like their own version of the welfare system to help the poor and so forth, so on. So if you made a certain income, you qualify for some things that you could get for free, right? And they kind of carry that over. But then eventually they say, you know what, we should not have the church be taxed for this. We should just create a law that the man will be still responsible for the child. And I get the law, and I get the rationalization of that law. But like I said, there needs to be balance balance. Context matter. Why are you getting a divorce? Who's at fault? Who did what? Right? Because I don't believe a man should be in a scenario that he has to pay alimony to a wife and all kinds of child support and things like that and lose custody if his wife, for instance, is not giving him sex. If the wife is not cooking and cleaning the house. If the wife is cheating on him with another man. If the wife is being disrespectful and rude in front of his colleagues. A man should not be in a situation that now he's being penalized, giving her what she wants, right? Giving her what she wants with the divorce and the alimony, although she did not do her duty as a wife. What say you about that?
Yeah, I got a working theory. You know, I don't fully believe in this, but, you know, it's something that I was thinking up that, you know, of course, on righteous standards, right? You know, because you do have men out there who are, you know, just out of character. But the theory is that the man is always right, whether it's yes, no, whatever the case is, because part of the component, the nature to a man is reasoning. So I could say for my family, for my children to be on, you know, video games and tablets due to my reasoning, and you can say contrary to that due to your reasoning, and respectively, we would both be right. And since women are emotional creatures, they don't have reasoning to the level that men do, so they justify, and their justification is what usually puts them in the line across from reasoning.
Right.
So what it really comes down to is that women are just justifying themselves so much. They can't even see the scope in which men are really bringing across. When the society was patriarchal and women had to submit to men by law and standard and principle, depending on the man that they were with, they might not have been comfortable or accepted, whatever the case is. Now a woman has the freedom to choose that.
Yeah.
But regardless, unless the man is out of character, there is a proper reasoning to that. So when we follow the Most High and we read the scriptures, we don't read it for the purpose of, well, how can I reason within myself that God was wrong here? No, we know that God was right with whatever he said because he is love. He's working for our benefit, for our good, even though we may not understand it. And women need to have that same outlook when it comes to men, since we are made in God's image. So it's just a lot of confusion, and that confusion is not just because women have taken the pedestal in society, but not enough men are standing up.
Right.
So
groups like MGTOW or Men Going God's Way is actually a doorway to giving men that safe space or even the confidence to be like, yeah, you know what I'm thinking isn't crazy. You know, how I feel about this isn't crazy.
Yeah.
Me wanting more than one woman isn't unnatural. Monogamy is actually unnatural, even if you think about it in the survivability way.
Yeah.
Reproduction, for a man to reproduce as much as possible, is completely rational. And for a woman to have alliance with another man's woman is completely irrational, because if every man is his own sovereign being, and let's say that he wants your wife because she's talented or skilled in another area, whatever the case is, there could be some, some corruption going on there like kind of like David did with Uriah and Bathsheba. So there's a lot of rationality to the way men think, unless, they're out of character, of course. So it's just, when I break things down, it just doesn't seem, any of this doesn't seem reasonable or right or anything. So that's what it just comes down to. Men just need more of a stage, and we need to stand up for, what we believe in, like Jordan Peterson.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like men, I think we stand for justice. Ultimately, if you are tapped into your God nature, into the spiritual realm, the God within you, there is an inherently understanding of what is right and what is wrong, what is fair and what is not fair. when you look at even when little kids are playing and creating a team in regards of the difference between little girls playing and little boys playing. Boys eventually create an autarky. It create a ranking system. Billy is here because he's the fastest. Tom is here because he's the tallest. You know, this guy is here because he's the slow. They curate a system of structure of ranking. Women, when they, or little girls, and they have done studies of this, when they deal with a game that needs to be a structure, they need to go and get an outside person, like a teacher, to kind of structure them together. That's why I don't believe that women, little boys and little girls should be learning together. I believe that school should be gender specific. Boys, young men should be by learning by young men, by men. There should be male teachers, and girls should be in their own structure. I think women learn different, little girls learn different, little boys learn different, but we are teaching boys how to learn like women. Women learn sitting down, paying attention in the class. That's the way they're structure. Men learn, or little boys learn by touching, feeling it, actually trying it out, failing, trying again, failing, getting better, and doing it and mastering it. That's how boys learn. They don't learn just by reading a book and following in structure. They need to touch it, feel it, experience it. It's a different way of learning. And America is becoming more backwards every day. More backwards every day. And I just want to prepare the young men that are listening to this show. Because I know there's a lot of brothers that are married and are attracted to this show. And they are men, they're about to get married, and they are attracted to the show. And I know sometimes brothers that are married, not all, but some say, you know what? I wish I had this show before I got married, because I would have done things a little different. Because the worst thing that you could do as a man is not have the data, and build a life with a woman. And then when you get the data, say, this is not wifey material. I should never have married this woman. I should never have children with this woman. Or I was not ready to have children with a woman. I was not ready to be married with a woman. I should have done this, that, and the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Regret, right? And what women need to understand, when a man comes across regret, he comes across as, he comes across something that he realized I did wrong. And he gets stuck in that situation. Usually men are problem solvers. They want to fix it. But when we cannot fix it, what happens? We just shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I'm trying to save those young men before they get married, before they pick the wrong woman. And brothers, if you in America, whatever woman, this is how I view it. This is my opinion. You can take it or leave it. If you and a woman, any woman you choose is the wrong woman. Any woman you choose is the wrong woman. It doesn't matter.
I concur.
Now, can we find good women in America? Yes. But they're very few. And it's like the tares, the thorns, and the wheat and the tares in the Bible. In the Bible, God told the angels not to rule out the tares because you may rule out the good seed, right? Because they look alike. Tyrese, the actor, he's learning the highway, the hard way. He was with a woman who was making her own money, agreed to sign the prenup, was not part of Hollywood. I think she was like a doctor or psychiatrist or social worker in that field. I think she made like $150,000 a year. So she was not a Hollywood vixen. She was not a one that's looking to be a star, right? And what happened? Even though he got a divorce, a prenup, she is still challenging that prenup. The judge is allowing that challenge to continue, and he's fighting for his wealth. She wants like about, I think, $20,000 a month for child support in Atlanta, which is the I think the maximum in Atlanta. So in different states are different. The maximum in Atlanta I think is supposed to be $3,000, but the judge is overriding that for whatever reason. So don't think that prenups are always unchallengeable. Why? Because if you challenge a prenup and you don't show up, you could lose by default. So a wife can just simply challenge. Donald Trump, his first wife challenged. He still was able to win at the end after hundreds of thousands of legal fees that he had to pay for his lawyer and her lawyer, right? So,
Right.
What I'm saying, what I'm trying to convey here, what I'm trying to educate the audience is don't even engage in the contract. I've been married with my wife since my 20s. I'm 51. We don't have no documents. There's nothing that says we are married by the legal system of this Babylonian system. And we're fine. And I can understand some people say, well, what about the last name? Don't you want your wife to have your last name? Yada, yada, yada. That's not really that important to me because it's not. But a woman could legally change her last name to whatever she wants without the legal marriage. The legal marriage is up to the devil. And I'm telling brothers, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. If you're going to get married, you want to get married, don't do it legally. Create a system. You could do it through a church, right? With like GOCC or other Israelite churches out there, and probably some Christian churches now also are adopting their own marriage license without the court system getting involved, right? Because back in the days before this racist marriage license was implemented, right? Because now you can marry whoever you want, but in the beginning, you could not. And I think you had even certain states into the late 60s were still, and even early 70s were still mandating that law that you cannot marry outside your race, right? And so the marriage license was created to stop black men to marry whoever they want. It was racist for its core. So institutions or these legal entanglements that you get with the system evolved, right? Because in the beginning it started for it to be a scenario that not to have black men to marry white women, but now has evolved to literally destroy men and their livelihood. There's certain situations like in California, if you've been married legally for 10 years, you are required to take care of your wife for the rest of her life. The rest of her life, right? And so forth, so on. Certain years, certain states, it differs. But and I'm not against if there's a divorce and there's a woman who's been married to a man. And she's been not the breadwinner. She's been the homemaker. Yeah, and it is a divorce. There should be some conversation about her, some form of restitution. Especially if she does not been in the workforce and things of that nature. But a lot of that is implemented because automatically the mother gets the full custody. I think that's part of the problem. If you create a woman, if you put a woman in a scenario that she has not been working for 10, 20, 30 years, whatever, and she's now getting divorced, she's going to try to get everything she can from the man. But if the courts automatically said joint custody, meaning that the father spends half the week with the children and she spends half the week, and they both are responsible, right, for taking care of the child, it will be a situation that even if he has to help her out financially, it would not be a taxing situation, because right now, before you were taking care of one home, now you just take care of two homes. And the law doesn't make sense, because the law says that you must provide the lifestyle of the children that they lived before the divorce. The same lifestyle has to be provided after divorce. It's illogical. There's no logic to it. Because if a brother is making $100,000 a year, he can no longer afford the lifestyle of 100,000 years for two homes. It's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
It's illogical. Both parties need to understand the party is over. Yet the man has to pay some restitution, I believe, to some degree, but there should be some conversation that the marriage is over. So the woman has to eventually, especially now, since all these women, women have rights to work whatever she wants. She could go to school. You could go back to the workforce. Or you could start going to the workforce and so forth, so on. And since both parties have joint custody, then there could be then they could work that out. But I believe if you leave it up to me, I will always urge a man to tell that man not to get married at all. Don't give that power to the state that has given that power to the woman. Go overseas, and even go into the laws of within overseas, because, like, for instance, in the Philippines, if you marry in the Philippines, you cannot get divorced. Impossible. They don't. In the Philippines, which is a very Orthodox Christian country, is very, very religious country, which is a good thing, but they don't grant divorce. There's no divorce. I remember when I was in GOCC, that was a thing of mine. There's no divorce. There's no divorce. There's no divorce. Work it out. It should be for the act of fornication. And according to the Bible, not my words, that it except it be for the act of fornication. That was a gender-specific law, because when they asked Christ for what, can a man divorce his wife for any reason, that law was gender-specific. A woman cannot divorce her husband, but in the Old Testament, a husband could divorce his wife. Deuteronomy 24. If he finds something unclean in her, he could give her a bill of divorcement. Christ amended that law, that now that uncleanness can only be fornication. Now, fornication could be homosexuality, bestiality, any flirting, sexual, any form of sexual, because fornication, that word there in the Greek is porneia, which is pornographical, or so forth, so on. You show your breast to another man, those are ground for divorce. You're flirting with another man, those are ground for divorce. Porneia, anything to do with, sexual, you got an OnlyFans on the side, right? You're talking to your man, your ex-boyfriend on the side, you're showing him pictures, those are ground for divorce. You don't have to literally have sex with another man for divorce, because the term is fornication, except it be the act of fornication. And there's another fornication, spiritual fornication. If you walk in one day and you see your wife with the hexagram in the living room, she praying to Satan, those are ground for divorce. Kick her out of the house. And men need to be smarter and don't take the risk. Travel, 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 travel. It is dangerous to marry, and it's even dangerous to have casual sex with women in America. And this is a message specifically to black men and Hispanic men. We like to have casual sex with different toxic women at different times, right? I'm talking about, before we were Christians, right, when we were in the world. And there's a lot of brothers still struggling with that. right, out in the world and even in the church, right? Having sex with toxic women, unprotected, you're going to have children with these toxic women. And then when you're calling me complaining, you only have yourself to blame. Brothers, wrap it up or use abstinence. Do not engage. Get yourself mentally ready to say, you know what? I would not have sex for a year, 2 years, 3 years if I need to, if I don't find the right one. And the risk is too high in America. The risk is too high in America for a man to take that risk. Because, see, this is a sad reality. We cannot give the women species too much freedom. I'm sorry. When you give women too much freedom, too much option, too much not narrow, but wide range of decisions, she's going to make the wrong decision. Because usually, you know, a lot of women that criticize the passport bros says, oh, you're going overseas to get these poor women, they're in poverty, don't have much going for themselves, yada, yada, yada. It's not always true, but some of it, let's keep it real, it is true. Some women in other countries look up to Americans and men from the Western world because we could provide a lifestyle for her, right, that she will not have otherwise. I don't have a problem with that. Mm-hmm. It's called hypergamy. So let's look at this. Women in America are in a situation. They would not date a guy. There was a sister that, it was a video that went viral that the brother, I think the man was like a Middle Eastern man, Hindu or Indian or something, and she was an African American, and she refused to get out the car because he was taking her to the Cheesecake Factory. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, I've seen that video, yeah.
The cheese, you know, now I'm not a big Cheesecake Factory. I've been there, you know, maybe twice and so forth, so on. But, I mean, good Lord, that's a typical American, I would say, you know, is above fast food, right? It's about out of a garden, that type of situation. You know, it's a typical, you know, restaurant you would go to, right? The woman refused to get out the car. Why? Because she says she has standards. Okay, so those high standards are dealing with what? Hypergamy. Okay, so therefore, if the woman in America, which I'm sorry, sisters, when you look at the women in the 60s, 70s, and 80s and 90s versus now, usually women in America are more overweight. I think like 45 pounds heavier than our mothers and our grandmothers in the average, okay? With all due respect, that sister, she was put together well, but she was like maybe a 6.5 at best. You know, I mean, she was a bit above average, right? She was not average, maybe 6.5, not a 7, not an 8, 6.5 at most. She probably needs to, in my opinion, maybe need to lose maybe 25, 30 pounds, right? But that's my personal preference, right? That's just, you know, to each his own. However, though, the woman was not allowed to, she refused, to get out the car because, and the guy, to his credit, he took her back home and said, that's fine. However, though, and she's lucky she wasn't with me because I would have left her right there. I wouldn't even take her back home. I would like, excuse me. And I done that before. There was a club called 718 in the Bronx. And there was a girl I was dating at that time. And we were coming out the club and she was mad about something. And I said, listen, stop with the yelling. She continued yelling. I got out the car and I just pulled her out the car. Left her right there in the middle of some road somewhere. Shut the door and left. And you know what's the funny thing? With all that, you know, male toxic masculinity. The woman called me last week, and, you know, the woman called me a week later, and she was like, you know, it was wrong for what you did. You should make it up to me. And for some reason, women just, you know, likes the type of, toxicity, whatever, right? And of course I had to cut it off because it's a long story. But anyway, women that are in America will not even get a card, certain women, if you take them to the cheesecake factory. The woman in Thailand will be happy to go to the cheesecake factory, and she is lighter in weight, prettier, natural hair, natural beauty, doesn't have all this makeup, right? Because, now these women, man, they're like, Decepticons, they you think they look catfish to the next degree on steroids, right? With this makeup, right?
Yeah.
So what men, because men, we always deal with logic. What is the path of least resistance? So.
Oh, and they're more respectable too.
Right, they're more respectful, thank you. Without the attitude, not the whole neck thing going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not the whole snapping thing and correcting you every 5 seconds, right? So what do you want us to do? Just stay here and be tortured? No. Get out. Get out, my brothers. Don't engage. Don't take the risk. That's why it's important for us to get our money right. That's why if you have to get 2 jobs, 3 jobs, get your money right, man. I'm looking to get some property in DR. Of course, I'm building this podcast and so forth, so on. If I have to get another job to make that happen, make it happen. Listen, if you work hard, if you leave the drugs alone, if you leave the clubs alone, if you leave these women alone, and you hit the gym, you work hard, you save your money, you be fruitful, you have an understanding how money works, you will be successful, period. It doesn't matter what level of success is success for you, right? It doesn't matter if you just have a security job or you have a corporate America job. It doesn't matter if you're a blue collar or white worker. If you save your money, you leave the alcohol and the drugs alone, you leave the clubs alone, you leave those women alone, get yourself one good woman, right? They could rock with you, right? And if you have to leave overseas to find that good woman, do that, right? Right? Do this.
Yep.
You will be successful. It doesn't matter whether you're a janitor or you're working for you own your own business. If you save your money, you be fruitful, you understand how to save money, how to invest money the right way, and so for someone, you will be successful. What say you, brother? What say you?
Yeah, I completely concur with everything you said, Elder. I mean, if you're making 30,000 a year here in America, you're already in the 1% of the world. So you got pull. You know what I'm saying? I know they're trying to make it harder for us to live on 30,000. I mean, that's just the baseline. Technically, with all the brothers in the churches and all these assistance programs, and you go on YouTube, you'll find easy jobs that pay more than that. Get a union job or something.
Yeah.
And you save up. The people that get the most value out of this show are those that aren't even married yet. So you have the guidelines. You just gotta follow it. And even living, I have a friend of mine who moved to Colombia with American money. He's living like a king.
Yeah.
So it's possible. There's stories of there's good stories, bad stories. Definitely do your research and whatever the case is. But there's a lot more value in the eyes of a woman that has been brought up and lifted out of poverty or whatever situation that she's in by this man that she's taken by, than a woman that you literally had to compete with. As soon as she's out of your league, she's going to move on to the next one because she's got options. Michael Bird just said Ecclesiastic is 26:10. If a woman has so much liberty, she's going to take advantage of it.
It's not good it's not good for women, and women need to understand that about themselves. It's not good for women to have too much liberty. They destroy themselves, and it's not like we want to impress. We want to put you in chains, sisters, but we have to, as men, we have to protect our daughters from themselves. Yeah. Women are not good making decisions on their own. They're the weakest vessel. And then America has brainwashed them to think, oh, you could do anything as good as a man. No, you can't. You could be better than a man. No, you can. It's a lie. you are the weaker vessel. Science teaches you that, shows you that. Look at the data. We got data now. What say you?
Yeah, there was a podcast I seen on social media the other day where the guy's asking this woman if men are physically stronger. And then, there's always some kind of rebuttal when it comes to women. But she said, yes, physically stronger. Are men mentally stronger? She said, no, because, they're not able to deal with BS like we are. And if I had, an input on that podcast, I would have said, well, it's not that we can't deal with a lot of BS, because we actually can. We deal with a lot of these women, don't we? It's just that we don't choose to, because it's logical not to have to deal with that. And women will put themselves through it. And even when he asked if men are emotionally stronger, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? You can't even get into an argument with the woman without her feeling butthurt. And, we just disconnect from the conversation because it's not a subjective matter.
Listen, men are better than women in everything. I'm going to say it. In everything. Why? Let's look at the statistics. Because a lot of women go back to their, parents, motherhood. There's no better love than the love of a mother. Okay, look at the statistics. A child being raised by a single father or a father and a mother, right? 89% of the percentage or increases into the high 80s, the percentage of that child being successful. Even if the father is raising that child by himself, that child has a better chance than that child being raised by the mother. So the component is, it's not the mother, it's the father. That movie that Will
Smith
really
loved
did.
Her children that much.
Yeah,
she
that
really
movie.
Loved her children that much. She let her be raised by the father.
Exactly. And I'm not saying there's not some strong women out there that could do it, yada, yada, yada. But if you're going to go to war, if you're going to do a task, you got to go with your best chances. And the best chances is having that man in the household. Statistics play that. So even in childbearing or in child raising, the statistics show that men are better. Why? Because men always present the line. The line. What is that line? The line of order. Women they could get angry at their kids and discipline them and things of that nature, but they are easily persuaded. They're easily changed. Men, the rules are the rules are the rules are the rules. With a woman, the rules are the rules, but it all depends, depending how I feel that day, what happened, let me hear you out, okay, maybe. Men, we don't get caught up with that. And that's the reason why we're better in discipline.
Right.
We're more direct. When men are talking to men, right? We talk to each other directly. Hey, brother, I need you to do this. Come over here. We're going to help, right? With women, we can't do that because that's too emotional. We got to talk to them. They're different creatures. You got children, women, and men. Women are not that much mature than children after a while. Women mature a little quicker than men, but women plateau maturity. Yep. There's certain maturity. There's a little girl in them that will always be in them. There will always be a little girl to some degree. Doesn't matter how mature they want to be. They need a hug. They need affection. They need human interaction, or they're going to start feeling like that inequipped. Women like to be around family and people, and they need human interaction. Men, we could stay alone. We don't need much. Yeah, I enjoy my family, my friends, but I'm comfortable being alone. I don't need all that interaction. And what women need to do, they need to understand the value, worth of a man. Women have to stop being jealous of men. Women have to stop being competing against men, because you're not going to win. You may be winning some battles, but you're not going to win the war. And that's happening now because what is happening? Men, we're leaving America. Men, we're leaving these toxic relationships. Men are realizing, wait a minute, I've been a fool all my life dealing with this crazy chick. And there's a lot of men out there that's still in la la land and in denial, and hopefully shows like this could wake them up. I sing and pray every single time, and there hasn't been many, but there has been, for a few emails of men calling me and say, Gabar, I appreciate you. I watched your show. I was in a toxic relationship with this woman. I end that situation. I'm better off. You were right, man. She didn't respect me. She didn't love me. She was cheating on me. She was doing this. She was being disrespectful, blah, 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 spending my money. And I was just stuck there. And I saw one of your shows and it inspired me to leave. Or I also sit and pray, right? When you have sometimes there's been sisters emailing me, cursing me out. You ruined my marriage. My man left me. It's because of guys like you, yada, yada, yada. And then after doing a little digging, right? And see, women, when you let women just vent, they condemn themselves. Yeah, we had some issues in our marriage. Yeah, I had some issue with disrespecting him and blah, blah, blah. But, after he watched your show, he just left. Listen, I was ready. All I did, it was inspiring him to do what he wanted to do anyway because of you. Because any man watch my show and has a good wife, feminine, petite, takes care of her beauty, cooks and cleans for her husband, looks out for her husband. There's never been one case ever that husband somehow seeing one of my shows were inspired to leave their wife. So it's always the wife's fault for the reason their husband left. Let me repeat it again. Sisters, if your husband leaves you, it's always your fault. All the time, 100% your fault. Because a guy doesn't just get up one morning and say, I want to leave my wife. If the wife is a feminine, agreeable, God-fearing, respectful, loving woman. Unless he's gay and he's a closet homosexual, that happens too, right?
Yeah.
But no guy who has a good woman leaves her. Even if he's in a situation that he's no longer attracted to her the way he used to be because they're not, as young and whatever, he never leaves her. He just deals with it. He may get a sister on the side. He may, whatever, yada, 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 but he never leaves you 9 times out of 10. Only 20%. 80% of the divorces are filed by women. So that's showing you what only 20% of the men. So that means 20% of the men are filing for divorce. If 80% of divorce account for women. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. What say you?
Yeah, let me say this because, we usually deal with rebuttals from women when we say statements like this, like that's a narcissistic mentality. Men are very simple. Men are very, very simple. A man will treat you right if you treat him right. You could think you're giving him the world and he still leaves you. You got to understand that if you don't give him what he wants, it don't matter if you give him the world. That's not what he wants. It don't matter.
Right.
You have to study your man. You have to know your man, and you have to please your man. Because if you're not doing that, then he will leave you if the situation isn't for him, for somebody who will do these things. Women say all the time, I was a good wife. I did everything for him. Yes, but did you learn him? Did you study him? Did you give him what he wanted? Because a man isn't going to leave a woman, like you said, that is doing well by him. It's not in his nature. He stands by his mother who's cared for him in the ways that sustains him, and his wife needs to be of a similar and needs to be similar to that. The mother cooks the man or when he was a child, cooks what he likes.
Yeah.
Cook knows what he likes as her child through love. If the wife isn't doing that and just giving him what she thinks he wants, then she's fooling herself. So it's not narcissistic at all. And this woman, New York, you know it. If you don't believe what us men are saying, then you're part of the problem. You have to know a man.
Yeah,
You
and
have
sister,
to
call
know
in
and
the show.
understand the man.
Call, sister. I'm hoping this is sister. It's not all about women. What she said. It's not all about women policing. All the men needs to put their part. Okay, or I don't know what they meant, but call in the show 267-358-0879.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we want to see what you
let me correct
say.
you. It's all about the man, what the man wants. If the man is the head of the woman, and the man is the image of God, and God created women for the sole purpose of being a helpmate. It's all about the man. So it's real
Amen.
simple, sister. What you have to do is find a man that you are compatible with, that has the same value as you. So therefore, it'll be easier for you to do whatever he wants. Some men are laid back. Some men are very strict. Some men are very hands-on, want to do it themselves. They don't need you to do things. They have to do themselves. Some men want you to do everything. You have to find the man. And that's the reason why before you start getting married and getting a relationship, you have to have those conversations. You have to listen to the dude. You have to understand, study what he likes, what he doesn't like. And see, women know how to do this at work. They know how to do this in other relationships. They know how to manipulate and see and study and friendship and all that. You guys know how to do that. But for some odd reason, when it comes to marriage, you guys just get stupid. I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't know what he likes. And men always tell women what they want, always are direct. Is the women don't listen. The men that are not direct, the men that are not telling what they want, these are men that are simps. Now, if you are dating or marry a beta, 9 times out of 10, the reason why you marry a beta is because you knew you could get away with whatever you want. So now you cannot complain because women are not usually attracted to betas. They're not really hardwired to be attractive and fall in love with a man who is a follower of her, who is just want to do whatever she wants to do. You may get what you want. You may get, call them at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Babe, get up. I need to do this. Okay, dear. No problem, dear. Certain men be like, nah, I'm going to do this. I got to work tomorrow. What the hell? This could wait until later. Matter of fact, what the hell are you waking me up? See, those type of men that would establish that order, although you don't like it, you're still attracted to that type of man because you're hardwired to follow. God built you with the economic or the biological makeup to follow women. So when women are dealing with betas and they're leading their family, they are always what? Angry, upset. Why? Because you're not your natural nature. Your natural nature is to follow. Now, the problem with women is sometimes they say, okay, I got to follow a man, according to the Bible, those women that grew up with the Christian tradition, but I want to marry a man who's not very assertive, who allow me to do whatever I want, yada, 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 so therefore I could do whatever I want. And when they're in that situation, they realize I'm not happy. Why? Because you're not in your natural state of being. You're biologically hardwired to follow a man. And like this sister saying, that's not true. Well, then you call man, if man was not created to follow, to lead you, sister, that means God is a liar. Because God put every man in charge of a woman. I will let you know that the head of every woman is the man, and the head of man is Christ, and the head of Christ is God. Now, if you don't believe in God, this is not your show. Get out. This is not your show. Get out. Go follow a show that you like. And one thing I'm never going to do, I'm never going to block anyone. I'm never gonna block no one. But I'm gonna probably dedicate a show. Let me look at this sister's. Let me look at this sister's. Because they all have the same MO. The same MO, right? Let me look at. Let me see if I can find it. What is this sister at? What is this website? Let me go to the website. Go to channel. There we go.
Paul would roll over in his grave,
and there's always some anonymous person. You cannot, look at this the website. New York, York, whatever, a new whip, whatever the scenario. Sister, let me, since you got no follow, let me subscribe to you. There you go. I'm gonna subscribe to you. I'm gonna turn the other cheek. But call on the show if you have all the answers. Call on the show if you have all the answers, right? If we are so wrong, why are you calling? Why are you wasting your time in a show that is bringing so much wrong information? Sister, you're going to be destroyed. When the collapse comes and you have no man who's going to protect you, when the raping and pillaging comes, because the collapse is going to come. The collapse is going to come. This country cannot continue in the directory is going, in the direction it's going, without eventually getting some blowback. Men are leaving American women. Men are no longer engaging. Society, as we see, is collapsing. World War III is in an element to come. All that conflict in Israel, in the Middle East, with Ukraine and Russia, is about to come. All the signs are ruling. They're all in a pot, just getting more stirred up every day. And it's because of women like you. It's women like you that when things hit the fan, you're going to be like, I wish I would have listened to that brother Gabar. I wish I was not thick-headed. I wish I could have been more patient and understood my position as a woman. I wish I would have done things differently. But it's going to be too late. It's going to be too late because women like you, there is no fixing. It is no fixing. Because there's a heavy demon. You've gone too far. You can't blow it, push it back. And that's why I tell brothers, do not engage with these women that see things a little different than Gabar. I see what Gabar is saying, but, I disagree with him. Those women, run. I'm not wrong. I know what I'm talking about. And it's not that I'm a jerk. I'm just experienced. Women cannot be given too much freedom, because if you give people too much freedom, right? Even men. Who usually checks men? Other men. That's why men created a system. Who created the police force, the court system? Men started that. Men are the ones that are conquering and building society. Women are just benefiting from it. Tell me one country, one society that was started and built and created by women. I'll wait. Do not engage, brothers. I'm telling you. Where, brother? What you want to add?
You got a crickets button, Elder? You got a crickets button?
The what kind of button?
The cricket.
The cricket.
Well,
yeah, I gotta get that cricket. Yeah, I gotta get that button. Yeah, I gotta get that button. yeah. I got the shot button, right? But I gotta get that button. Yeah, but. Yeah. And it's not that we're looking to look down on women or to disrespect women. We love women. We want the best for you guys. But you guys are becoming idiots, morons, self-destructing, buffoon. Women are delusional in America. Western women are turning crazy, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And no one is standing up to you guys. No one is telling you, nah, sister, that's the wrong path. Women used to be proud being a woman. Women used to be content with being a woman, a housewife, a helpmate, second in command in the household. But now you want to be first, second, third in command. You want to be everything. This world was not created for you. It was created for men. Join the winning team, sister. You part of a losing team. You part of a sinking ship, and you don't even know it. and we are loving you. We're trying to tell you, please stop this madness before it's too late. We are the new Noahs, and we are getting in the ark. Those men, they are going God's way. They understand that we are the real woke people. We the people that are really are awake. The so-called woke, they are asleep at the helm. They're asleep, and they are not awakening. They are in a coma. The real people, they know what's going on, are the people that are usually not the populace. The people that are the controversial, the people that gets canceled, those are the people that are right. Any last words, brother, you want to add before we end the show?
Yeah, I say this. 144,000 men will be in the kingdom of heaven. And I don't know what's the case is with women, but if the kingdom of heaven is only comprised of 144,000 men, I think it's safe to say that the wives of those 144,000 will be in the kingdom under the submission.
Hold on, 2 seconds. Sister New York, whatever it says, you're wrong about, I have been married for 42 years. Speak for yourself. I will give your husband $1,000 right now if he calls in the show. I bet you he won't. That simp. I bet you he won't. Any woman who's out there talking in men's spaces she's dating a punk. Straight up punk. Brother, I would dare you to call the show. I would dare you to call and stand up for your wife, brother. I'm calling your wife a demon. Stand up for your wife. Because I haven't been in a situation that any man would dare to call my wife. To call my wife a demon. I will be on that show. So, sister, you married for 42 years, you married to a punk, a man that doesn't have a backbone. That's why you out here talking to other men, because you don't have a man at home. You have a simp. Brother Ricky, what you got to add to this conversation?
Well, what I would like to add is the fact that, it's sad that a lot of our sisters are not paying attention to what's going on. It's more than just, a few of us in the truth. It's brothers that's not even in the truth, that's not even engaging the sisters in America anymore. And they're sick and tired of it. Like, it's all over the internet. It's all over YouTube. It's brothers I meet at work. And, it's sisters at the job.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's just how they act. Their necks all stretched forth, and they think they hotter than fish grease. And not knowing that nobody don't want them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, for the fact that they done did this women's empowerment, and how the system is set up for them to basically, if you do have children, they can take the kids and put you on all these restraints and put you under their control, where they fail to realize, like, don't be surprised if several of these men start cutting, because we usually have the saying, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Right.
Yeah. Well, if you're trying to use these children as a weapon against these men, I'm not talking about the trash behind 18% of dudes that's out here just slinging penis and making babies and them jive turkeys there. What I'm speaking of is the brothers out here working their behind off, trying to, and who are not trying, they are making something themselves. They are making great money.
Yeah.
And because these women cannot submit, because that's what the Bible said. Because a lot of these women quick to talk about the Bible. I want a God-fearing man.
Yeah.
But as soon as the word submit come up, oh, well, I'm equal. Well, tell me what God said we was equal. Because last time I checked, the Most High God said there was a pecking order in this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even us men, when we fellowship with each other, we understand there's a pecking order in this thing.
Yeah.
And we don't take no kind of, well, he's not better than me. Like, we ain't got time for that. Okay, listen here, this brother, he's more of an elder. All right, this brother right here got more experience, so I'm more underneath him. That's not a big deal. We know how to take order. But then when it's these women, I'm equal. But then if you equal, go out here and get this doo-doo out the toilet so we can do this plumbing.
Yeah.
We equal. Let's go out here. We need some oil, dog, on it. Let's go out here and get dirty and see how fun it is to get this oil out the ground.
Yeah.
Oh, we equal. Go out here and grade this land with me and make sure this land is at least somewhat level so we can make sure that this house is on the same level.
Yeah.
I don't want you to come in at the end, because if a woman only want to come in on the finish line, that means I'm going to choose the best that I want, because this is my kingdom. So then I choose what I want. And now I clearly see that when that day comes where it says it's going to be 7 women to 1 man, these women going to go haywire, because guess what? Most of the good men, they ain't even going to want the 7 women.
Yeah.
They're going to be running away from them.
And you know what's a sad thing? Women like this sister over here, NY, York, whatever her name is. Let me put her thing back up. She's been married for 42 years, right? So that means she's an older woman. She's probably old enough to be my grandma. You get what I'm saying? My mom or whatever. You get what I'm saying? And women like her that would date a simp, because any woman that is on social media commenting about men's business and is too busy going into other space and things of that nature. Because let me find my wife talking to men and arguing with men about scriptures in some social media. She knows better because she knows her place. Right? But women like her, they will boast. I've been married for 42 years. No, you've been a slave master for 42 years. That's what you've been. Like I said, I will bet you that your husband will not call. I want to hear from your husband, sister. Right? Let me speak to him, and I will bet you I will deal with a wimp. I will bet you I would deal with somebody who's like, well, my wife, she got her own mind. She's a human being. She got her own rights to do whatever you want, brother. She's not a slave. He'll give you all that, she's no longer a slave kind of situation to justify him being a wimp and not controlling his wife.
Yeah.
So I'm not impressed, sister. See, I'm not impressed, sister, because, yes, a lot of women that cannot get a man that they want, and that's the reason why a lot of you women are in these type of shows, because secretly you're attracted to men like us. You want to know what we're doing and what we're saying and all that. We own our business and all that. I have had married women calling me, of elders of churches, flirting with me. And I'm not bragging like I'm some Don, Corleone or some Andrew Tate or whatever. But there's a lot of women, demons, that are married to men, and they secretly running around flirting with other men online. And they'll use these type of discussion to get into our space. Sister. I'm not going to allow it. I'm not going to allow it. And I remember calling that brother, calling him, texting him, and emailing and saying, hey, your wife is reaching out to me. I need to talk to you. Not a whimper. Why? Because he's a beta. Because he's too afraid to face the truth, so he'd rather just ignore it. And you know who you are. You know who you are. Kraft. That's your last name, Kraft. You know who you are. You should be checking your wife, brother. Let a man be calling me, talking about your wife is talking to me, and I don't have the common sense to call that brother back and be like, what you should say, brother? What my wife is doing? I will put my wife right there in the phone. But these men, man, and men like this brother who's been married to this demon for 42 years is part of the problem, because they justify that behavior because I've been married for 42 years. I've been married for this. They say, well, what I'm doing cannot be that bad because I've been married for so long. You're not really married to a real man, sister. That's the problem. You're married to a wimp.
Yeah. Word.
What say you, brother?
Let me say this. I mean, if you've been married for 42 years, then you have to be at least 65 years of age. I don't know no 65-year-old that types like that. But I'm going to say this. I'm going to end it with this on my behalf. But if Jesus was to tell you the same thing that we're saying, you would not tell him that he's wrong. And I'm going to end it off with that.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, brother. Brother Rick, any last words before we end the show?
Yeah, just one last thing. To definitely to go off of what you were saying. There was a situation that happened with my daughter, and I called the pastor of the church. Now, my mom had said the pastor was a woman, but then when we got on the phone, I had called my father just to make sure that I didn't overstep my boundaries because I was pretty heated. And also to have a witness, because the Bible says to let two or more be present.
Yeah.
And when we got on the phone with the so-called pastor, she directly said, "Well, my husband is the pastor. I'm the co-pastor. We do it together."
Right.
When I asked, I said, "Well, ma'am, could you please put your husband on the phone? Because my father's on the phone, I'm on the phone, and it's two men." She said, "Well, my husband, he's soft-spoken. I handle all the problems in the church."
There you go.
And I said, listen, this conversation is not really for you. I need a man on the phone. And then she's going to reiterate how she handles the problems in the church. And I said, "Man, listen here. I know what kind of woman you are. I know, because I was in the streets before I straightened my life out. And my father could verify all this. And I told her, I said, you was one of them 304s out there on Freak Meat back in the 90s. And none of the dope boys and none of the ball players wanted you.
Mm-hmm.
They passed you around like the football,
Mm-hmm.
but you wasn't the trophy.
Mm-hmm.
But then, because none of them wanted you, you found some doggone weak-kneed joker who cried about the Bible and Christianity,
Yep.
and now you try to say y'all co-pastor.
Yep.
And that just right there proves, what you were saying about the NY lady in 42 years and whatever garbage that was, because a lot of these women do that because at the end of the day, it's cheaper to keep her. Because if he was divorced her,
Mm-hmm.
his behind to be out on the streets and she keep the house, and then she'll go get her a younger dude that she been wanting to mess around anyway. That's
Right.
just the truth of it. Because all of them dealing with the spirit of Jezebel, or they done got so demonic, they dealing with the spirit of Lilith.
Exactly.
And I'm going to leave it at that.
Exactly. They got a poor show, who is a beta, not assertive, probably was raised by a woman who talked down to him all the time. So therefore, he kind of married a woman who kind of reminded him of his mother, right? Assertive, didn't grow up with a man, and that's the man that you marry. And there's a lot of brothers out there that are in that type of situation. And what I'm hoping is for brothers like that to wake up and say, you know what, it's never too late. Even this demonic woman's husband, he must be in his 60s. Brother, you're in your golden years. Grow a spine, finally, and stand up to your wife and say, I don't want you to be talking to these social media anymore. If you continue doing that, we need to get a divorce. You get the hell out of my house, or I'm leaving this house. Once men put their foot down, women are going to do all that crying. They're going to do all that situation, but two things are going to happen. They're either going to leave you or get an order. Either one is fine by me. And once men understand that we have to be that ruthless and direct, women are going to get an order or just simply leave. Period. And as brothers like this brother here who is married to this demon, and I'm going to continue calling you a demon, sister, until your husband called me. Listen, we could have a meeting face to face. Let's have a conversation. I'm about that life. So we could have that conversation. It doesn't go to any violent, but I will call a direct brother. You are soft, man. That's the problem. There's never been a situation that there is a man that is talking to other men, that women come in and had a conversation talking about, you're wrong. It's not your place. And that's the problem with women. They think that they are equal to man. You're not. You never will be. You're not. You never was. And you never will be. So get over it. The minute you understand, okay, men are better than women in everything. In everything. Prove me wrong. And when men are talking about man issue, the women should just shut the heck up and listen. Learn something. When men are arguing and going back and forth and all that, women should be not putting their own opinion. Well, let me say something. I need to say something. No, you need to say nothing. It's not your space. It's the same scenario when adults are talking and kids should not be in the middle of adults arguing. They should go to their room. Women should do the same thing. Is until men start standing up and stop the madness. Because we know, we feel it in the background when a woman's off. When a woman's out of order, we feel it. Doesn't matter how deceptive she was come in. Because women like them, they usually come in like, oh no, let me say something. Could I speak? Can I say something? And that, no, you cannot say anything. Because dealing with matters and things of that nature, that's why in the Bible says if a woman learns anything, let her ask her husband at home, not at public, not at the church. Why? Because a woman ain't supposed to be going back and forth in the presence of other men with her man, arguing and things of that nature. You're supposed to keep that. First of all, you're not supposed to be arguing, but if there's a disagreement, you're supposed to be what? Discreet. That's why it says, if you learn anything, ask your husband at home. And let me tell you something, guys. You know what institution is keeping these women alive? Is the American Christian Church. This is the institution that's keeping these women alive and continue going because they're finding suckers, guys that have been brainwashed to think that turning the other cheek means taking abuse from your wife, taking disrespect from your wife, taking disobedience for your wife. Oh, that's my cross to bear, brother. No, it's not. Give that broad a bill of divorcement and say, listen, until you learn how to be a wife, you cannot be my wife. Don't you know that disobedience is the same sin as witchcraft, according to the Bible? Don't you know in the Bible says that you must respect your husband as unto the Lord, as he was Christ himself? Will you be telling Christ, I think you're wrong, Christ, like Brother Zedekiah just mentioned? I keep saying Zedekiah. I always mention the Zedekiah. You know what I mean. I got to come up with a shorter name for you. Brother Z. Right? Zedai. There you go, brother. Like Brother Zedai just mentioned. Right?
Yeah.
We cannot remove our foot out of their necks when it comes to this. We cannot back up. We cannot say, well, maybe we're being overboard. Maybe we're being a little too toxic. No. Because we were cool until this woman came in and said, you're wrong. Let me explain to you. Because you found a sucker to imprison for 42 years. That's the reason why he's not calling me. Let me be my wife be embarrassed. Let my wife be called a demon in the show. First of all, my wife will have enough conversation not to be in these type of conversations.
Well, you may have to ask, is he even home?
Exactly.
He may be not even dealing. He might be out doing his thing at the elk club or something like that because he can't deal with it.
That brother's probably in the bar drinking his life away, talking about, I should have listened to my friends and not married this woman. I'm telling you, a lot of men are secretly suffering in silent desperation every day dealing with women like her and just dealing with it. That's why men die younger than women. That's why the suicide rate is higher in the men than women. Because women do not understand the annoyance, how annoying they are. When they're constantly talking, no one wants your opinion. No one really cares. They just got to listen to you because, I don't want to come across as a male chauvinist. And listen, the only opinion you should be telling is your husband at home when you had bed with him, laying down with him. You could, that's when you're talking, sweet talking and things of that nature. But you should not be talking to your husband or to men in an open setting, debating back and forth. It's out of your nature. And we keep telling you this. We keep trying to correct you. That's why organization like Passport Bros, an organization like Men Going God's Way, You know, today I was talking to a brother who's going to overseas in Asia, and he's going to try to see how that situation. I got a brother in Africa. He's looking at that situation. He lives there. He works there. We're creating a network of brothers that we could go anywhere, because the world is becoming smaller. The world is now we're not stuck in our village, in our borough, in our state, in our country. We could move now, and we are not engaging. We are not falling for the same tricks that our father and our grandfathers have fallen. I'm going to pray for your husband, and I hope in his late years he grows a backbone and realize that brother Gabar is right. I've been dealing with a disrespectful woman all my life, and I'm not going to stand up for it anymore and just simply leave. Don't try to change her. Don't try to get family counseling. Don't try to just leave, because with these women, there is no turning back. Don't reward bad behavior. Go overseas. You probably now in the situation later of your life, you probably retire. Become an expat. Go overseas, man. Go to Thailand. Go to Brazil. Go to Puerto Rico. Go to DR. Go to South America. Get yourself a nice woman who's not going to be a non-Western woman, who has family values, who understands and wants a man and things of that nature, and wants to take care of man, and live your golden years in peace away from this demon. But some men maybe just love torture. Some men just love, maybe certain men are sick in the head and they just love toxic women. I don't know. I don't have the answer for that, brother. But brothers, I want to thank you guys for sharing your thoughts and supporting. You know, I'm fired up. We're back every Tuesday. We're going to be coming back. We're trying to do something on Saturday, but it's my job schedule sometimes doesn't let me, because I got that two jobs, and that's coming in, and that's good, and all things of that nature. But brothers, we're not wrong. We're not toxic men. We're not men that are bitter because of divorce. I've been married. I'm not bitter. I'm not someone who's been hurt and women has taken advantage of me. I'm not that dude. I've never been that dude. But what my heart goes out to is for brothers that been calling me in the past, or like this brother, like this sister over here. I bet you if I talk to that brother personally away from the cameras, he would say, "You go, boy, listen, man, my wife, she's just a firecracker. I can't control her." He would give me the real lowdown. That's the reason why he's not calling the show. That's the reason why he would never call the show. That's the reason why she would never call the show. And these are the type of men I'm trying to save from this captivity. We're the new freedom fighters. We're the one that are making these men free, because we have to help men, because men are the image of God. And especially God-fearing men. If you believe in God, we want to help you. If you want to go God's way and know how to even go God's way, because a lot of men don't even know how to do it. They've been brainwashed by this feminine Christianity that America is producing. All this praising Jesus and all this feminine energy. Listen, I don't have a problem with praising the Most High God and His Son Christ all day, every day. But it is this feminine energy that has been crept in unawares in the Christian church in America. That, to be honest with you, it was always there to some degree, but now it's increasing to the level that the Christian church had been taken over by feminist, bossy, demonic women and homosexual beta men. Classic homosexual men. A lot of pastors, a lot of churchgoers, men, they're struggling with that lifestyle, and they're living that heterosexual lifestyle, but they're really homosexual in nature. You got that going on. You got a lot of Eddie Laws running around and things of that nature, supposed to be pastors. A lot of gay men in these in the choirs and all that. And you have a lot of beta males. Anytime you have a church that you have a pastor and his wife is called pastor, run. Any church that you are going to and you have a female who is the pastor, run. Do not engage. Men already leaving the church, men need to continue to go all the way out and boycott all Christian churches until they establish these principles. Women, you guys have to take the back door. You have to take the back seat. We're going to take over this situation. No more cleavage. No more little skirts. No more tight jeans and poo-poo shorts. We're going to get rid of that. Women are going to be on one side of the church. You're going to cover your head. You're going to dress modestly. And the men are going to lead what's going the church. Men have to stop boycotting Christian churches until men are able to take control 100% of the Christian church and go back to orthodoxy, go back to the real understanding of the Bible. Well, brother, thank you for sharing. Thank you, brother Ricky. Appreciate you guys for lending me your ears and sharing your wisdom. And let's keep up this work. I'm going to try to have a meeting with the brothers hopefully in a few weeks to let you know what's going on. I want to put something together. I don't want to say what I'm doing. I want to just show it. But I'm very excited what's coming down the pipe. I know, brother Z, you working on your LLCs. You're doing some things in the future. We're going to be talking about that, introducing that. Men, we should start coming together, building together. Don't get involved with toxic women. If you are involved with a toxic woman, disengage. Get out of that situation. Get your money right, get your body right, get your mind right, and get out and find your freedom and find a woman who will respect you. They will know from day one and will agree and accept. Not agreed, but yet I need to work on this, I need to work on that. Oh, you have to marry a woman who is ready day one. If you cannot find that woman, don't marry her. Don't work on a woman or marry a woman who needs work and has this and that and needs to work on that and don't know how to do this, but she'll get to it eventually. Those women are toxic. And in America, even the nice ones, you have to watch out for because they could be a demon in disguise. Well, thank you, brother, for lending me your ears. And thank you, the audience, man. Thank you, the folks that are, been sticking with me for the last few years, the people that have been supporting me, keep it coming, the support, and all your criticism, the love and the hate. It gives me context to talk about. Even you, sisters, you want to continue engaging? Keep engaging. Come, make sure you you keep telling other people, I want you to see this horrible guy, Gabar, call on the show, curse him out, comment why he's wrong. Bring him in because, I'm thick-skinned. I could handle it. But the bottom line, as much as I could give it, I could give it. And sister, you're going straight to the pits of hell. You continue with that mindset. A woman is not equal to a man, and she will never be. And God established the order. Man, women, and children. Man is the image of God. So man should be respected. And I know it's hard for you, especially women within the daughter of Zion, blacks and Latinas and Native Americans and people of indigenous culture. A lot of those people are actually the Israelites scattered throughout the fourth corner of the world. But when you look at the worst women, or the women that needs the most help, are our women. So shalom, blessings, peace. Let's continue talking. Let's continue having this conversation. I'm back every Tuesday. My schedule is set at least for Tuesday. Saturday, I'll let you guys know when I'm going to be doing a lesson because my schedules change every week. But Tuesday, we're going to be coming back. We're back, and we're better than ever. Thank you, Shalom, and bless you, and may the Most High keep you. Peace.